Welcome back to Crazy Ex Podcast. This time, Roger and I watched Season 1, Episode 18, Paula Needs to Get Over Josh, which is the Season 1 finale. As always, we'll start off with a synopsis. Paula lays into Rebecca, and their friendship is fractured. Both Rebecca and Greg refuse good advice, where Rebecca tries to find a perfect, idealized moment to tell Greg how she feels, and Greg tries to play the bad boy that doesn't care about Rebecca. At Jayma's wedding, Valencia and Josh break up. Greg gets drunk and sabotages his relationship with Rebecca, and Rebecca runs into Josh's arms. What do you think of this episode, Roger?
You know, it was okay. I told you so. This definitely proved kind of what I've been saying the entire time. Like, there were bad decisions made by our characters throughout the season, and they came to a head here. Mm-hmm. But I really want to emphasize, I told you so. So a few episodes back, you snarkily commented, well, people can change their mind. Did Rebecca ever change her mind about Josh?
Oh, I think that she did.
And then changed it again?
I think that she went for the idealized option rather than the person that she actually cares about. And this is a bad choice for a lot of reasons, but we're barreling towards future disaster here.
Of course. But the point is that she didn't close the door on Josh. Josh closed the door on her, and then she accepted it and pivoted. It wasn't like she said, I don't love Josh. She heard Josh say, I don't love her, and went, okay, I'm done. I'm moving back to New York. Then got some ghost therapy.
Not a thing you hear every day.
Nope. And then it was like, she basically settled for Greg. I mean, he was plan B. He was choice number 2. And the moment that Josh opened the door and said, oh, Valencia and I over, she ran right into her arms. Like, I don't know how there's any way to logically say that she didn't always have in his choice A.
I wonder what would have happened if Greg hadn't sabotaged the relationship.
Are you saying Greg doesn't sabotage the relationship, but then Josh comes running after her and says, I'm done with Valencia and I want you?
Yeah.
She picks Josh.
I'm not sure that she would.
I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
I mean, she moved here for Josh. She's been in love with Josh. She has always chosen Josh. I don't know a scenario in which Greg wins over Josh. There's no evidence that I can say other than we want him to win, but like...
She did send Josh away when he came to her house a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, because he said he didn't love her, so she was trying to move on with her life. It wasn't that she didn't like him. It was, well, you're committed to your girlfriend, then we're done. Which is different than, I don't have a thing for you anymore. Mm. And that makes sense. I mean, this whole weird thing about her and the princess thing was quite funny, especially considering we do a Once Upon a Time podcast. And it definitely was a good way of because I know a decent amount of women who have this idealized version of how it's supposed to be, and it's like, look, like you're the most cynical person I know about love, and I know a ton of dudes having grown up in football and things like that. But even I think this is relatively silly when it comes to like it's not a fairy tale like this. I don't know what this show was that they created in this Enchanted or whatever the hell this
Slumbered.
Slumbered. It's a Sleeping Beauty pun. But yeah, when you are chasing some idealized version of that, it's never going to work. And that's essentially what Josh ends up being. He is the idealized man who's never going to live up to that expectation. Now, Greg has his own issues. And
Greg definitely has his own issues going on.
What character? Because we touch base with all of our characters here. So what character do you want to start with?
Gosh, I don't know.
You want to start with Greg?
Okay.
I want to feel bad for Greg. I really do. At a certain point, though, I stopped feeling bad for you when self-sabotage is kind of like the number one thing that holds you back. And self-sabotage is the number one thing that holds him back. I don't know exactly why he thought he needed to do this bad boy thing. Like, the rationalization he came with was weird. Because
it's the I could if I wanted to. It's the same thing. If he acts like he doesn't care and then she doesn't choose him, it doesn't matter because he didn't care.
But, like, if he would have reverted back to how his personality was before, that makes sense to me. But he, like, created a new persona. Like, I get the she chose me when I acted like this, so I'm going to act like that. But that isn't what he did. He, like, picked this, like, person that he's not, pretended to be, and then she's like, I've never liked that. Why would you act like this? That's weird to me.
But I don't think he was doing it so she would choose him. I think he's doing it so that if she doesn't choose him, he didn't choose her and it doesn't matter because he didn't care.
Well, he does explicitly say that's why he's doing it when he's talking to his dad.
So that she will choose him?
Yeah. She doesn't like me when I'm caring. It looks bad on me. I have to go back to not caring. That's when she chose me. So he's like very explicit as to why.
And his dad is like, you're an idiot.
Is he wrong?
No, he's not wrong.
I did like at the beginning where he's like, yeah, I just shouldn't have gone on that date. Yeah, because you didn't really want to be there. Like,
yeah.
I get that, like, he was trying to not be all in, but it was like, you know what, just go on and just deal with the consequences. And smartly, he pivoted and he's fine. I think the little confrontation between Greg and Josh was hilarious.
Oh my god, it was so funny. Well, Greg was so excited about that balloon. And I actually think the balloon is like a pretty good... Like, Rebecca will think that balloon is really funny.
Absolutely. That is where you realize that there's a part of them that makes sense.
And Josh doesn't get it.
No, not at all.
But Rebecca also does, like, flowers. And Greg turns the whole thing into, are you choosing the flowers or the balloon?
So I think it's a good microcosm of Greg appeals to the, like, funny, awkward, quirky side of Rebecca, and Josh is your traditional prince, essentially. Yeah. And so they each go this direction, and the answer is she likes both.
Yeah.
But neither one of them are both.
Yeah. They are not both.
They are not both.
Yeah, but yeah, the conversation with Greg and Josh. Too. I mean, like, Greg's insecurities are just like spilling out of his mouth as verbal diarrhea.
Well, also he's brutally attacking him, and not wrong. Nothing he's saying about Josh is wrong.
Right.
But it's very clearly a defense mechanism for the fact that he's like, oh fuck, this is like my competition, and I'm losing. Mm-hmm. I like that he throws Valencia in Josh's face, and Josh doesn't have an answer. He's like, this isn't about me right now. It's like, well, it kind of is about you right now.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, why are you bringing flowers to Rebecca, who you cheated on your girlfriend with, when you probably should go be with your girlfriend?
And then, does Josh tell Valencia that he is going to look for a ring just to prove Greg wrong?
No. He, in my opinion, this is the way I interpret this, he saw Rebecca moving on with Greg.
So he felt like he needed to.
And he decided, and then like his sisters get, like everyone else is moving on. Like he says, it's time. He looked at it the way that you cynically look at it, like a marriage. Like, well, you know, we've been together long enough. It's time. Let's do this. You know, just very matter of fact, you know, kind of, it's been about 2 years. Let's, or in their case, 15
For the record,
years.
That's how I think about marriage, but not how I think about, like, choosing to be with someone. I think that marriage is a business contract, and choosing to be with someone is a different choice.
How do you see that choice, just out of curiosity?
A business?
No. Like, how would you say choosing a relationship? How would you just define that? Choosing who to be with. Is it a person you just share your stuff with?
I mean, partially, but it doesn't have to be that.
What does it have to be?
You're committing to each other for the long term.
To do what?
To be together.
What does that mean?
To build your life together.
Is that not also a contract at that point, essentially?
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
It's not a thing you can easily define. That's the correct answer! Like a contract you get, like, I go to work. They pay me X amount of money for my services. I provide them a service. I go home. I would hope people don't look at their relationship like that. Please, for the love of God, I hope people don't look at their relationships like that.
Oh, jeez.
So we talked about this, and at first I wrote down, Greg has serious Josh phobia, because I was kind of acting like he was being paranoid. But then I asked the question, is a thing paranoid if the concern that you have is legitimate? And obviously, in this case, the answer is conclusively yes. In general, we were unclear as to how that lies, because if someone is trying to kill you, I wouldn't call you paranoid. I would say you have a real legitimate concern.
But also, I think...
But where's that line?
I think that the thing that would come into it, like where the paranoia is people are trying to kill you, but now you see people trying to kill you everywhere.
Trying to kill you.
Because you're, like, worried about the actual thing that's happening.
But
like,
again,
that's real.
Where's the line between paranoia and real... Because obviously there might be people who you don't see trying to kill you. Like, it's like, where do you draw the line, essentially? Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Greg has a very insecure standing with Josh. Josh is traditionally the hot one. Mm-hmm. And Rebecca moved here for him. I mean, I can understand someone being insecure, but like, I'm your second choice. settle for me was basically how he was approaching it, and that's essentially what she did.
Yeah, I think the problem, communication was a huge problem in this entire episode for everybody. Because he could
Josh communicated pretty well in this episode. He's very clear with Valencia what he wants. And when he's mad about it.
That's true.
I don't think he's fully honest.
Yeah.
But he is clear about, like, I need this and I need you to give me my own time.
And while we could see his face communicating his utter horror at the end of this episode, he did not communicate that to Rebecca.
But he also was just realizing that,
yes.
too. So, like, in that moment, that's hard to articulate. Oh, fuck, you're crazy.
Yeah. But Greg also could have talked to Rebecca about that. And Rebecca could have stopped trying to find the perfect moment and being weird and awkward and just told him how she felt. There was a lot of... And then I thought it was so funny, like, every time she was trying to tell him at the wedding what she decided was this, like, idealized moment, there were just, like, something just kept happening, and Greg was like, geez, there's a lot of events. Like, dance for 2 seconds, and now somebody else is gonna do something.
This is why looking for the perfect moment is foolish.
Yeah. Well, and she realizes that at the end.
She does.
And he won't let her.
Yeah. Well, at that point, he's... So, I was going to be... Unless you have more to say about Greg, I want to get to that end scene. The kind of at the bar where he's wasted. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of has a flash of seeing Rebecca kiss Josh from his point of view.
Yeah.
And then he walks away. To me, that made... I thought he, at that point, basically decided to walk away from Rebecca. Mm-hmm. And was like, you know what? I'm always going to be second. And then he kind of, like, soft gave her an out.
Yeah.
But, at the end of it, he, like, realizes, I should have said I love you.
Yeah.
Did he change his mind? Was that never his intent? Because it felt like that's, like, a guy's way of breaking up with you. Like, I'm going to be kind of a jerk and let you just do your thing and go. As opposed to, like, I like you, but I know I'm not the choice.
Yeah.
Which was his biggest insecurity and came true.
I don't know that he changed. I think he did love her, and I think he felt that way before, and he feels that way now. Mm-hmm. I think that he realized that he should have said that instead of letting his insecurities tromp all over him.
But what was the point of the flash, I guess, is what my question is.
I think it was like that's like what he sees when he like thinks about insecurities. Like they have this connection and we don't have that. Mm-hmm. So like he just sees them coming together like magnets in the courtroom. The other thing that I think is interesting about this is, I don't know, interesting. It's bad, especially on Rebecca's part. I don't know if he thinks that they broke up.
So prior to the last cutaway shot, I thought he did. It sounded like he was doing almost like what Heather did, which she's like, you know what? You're obviously meant to, like, you have thing for, I'm just going to step out of the way. And obviously him being in that position, it felt like he came to that conclusion. Like, you know what? You may like me, but you love him, so I'm going to step aside. That's why I was confused when I was like, oh, maybe that's not what happened. I
mean, nobody said the words, like, I don't want to see you anymore. Nope. Like, they just sort of...
He started acting in a way, though.
Of course, like I'm not... Yeah. He didn't, like, open the door for Rebecca to think that they have a long-term relationship going on or anything. I mean, he said he just wants to play it
He closed the door on that.
Like, but he also made it sound like what they had been talking about a few episodes ago, which is just, this is casual, we have fun together. Yeah. Which is not... I mean, also, clearly that doesn't necessarily mean they're exclusive, so, like, whatever. But I don't know that he thinks that he will never get to hang out with Rebecca again, or maybe he thinks that he'll have the opportunity to be like, I really fucked up last night. Yeah. Well, and also, like, White Josh didn't witness the conversation, but he sort of takes it as like, oh yeah, bro does this. He totally fucked up. And that was hard when he's like, this is just what Greg does. Because it's not just that Greg has all of these insecurities himself. It's that his friends know that he acts this way,
well,
too.
they know he's a self-sabotager. Yeah. You said this, kind of revealing this in a way that I didn't know. He just ruins his own life. Yeah. That it's just who he is. There's a funny story, and you know this person, but there's a hilarious thing about, like, people who were dating, and they were in this, like, weird in-between spot. And the guy finds out that the girl that he likes is trying to be hit on by another guy, and she's like, well, are we exclusive or do you care? And he tries to be all big and bad. He's like, I don't care. I'm a grown man and you like me, so he can try. And so then he gets mad when the girl kisses the other guy. And I'm like, well, why didn't he just say no? What the fuck are you doing? And then he gets mad. He's like, well, I can't believe you kissed him. I thought you would just know better. And I'm just like, but did he say don't kiss another guy?
No.
Well, no, he like dared me to do it. And I was like, well, then he's an idiot. Like, I would just been like, no, you're not allowed to kiss other guys. We're a thing. Like, knock that off. Okay. Set clear expectations, folks. Communication! Why is this so hard for people?
I think it's what I said before. If you don't put yourself out there, he's hoping that she'll choose him even if he doesn't have to say that.
So, this is the thing I've always heard from people, and it's always perplexed me, and maybe it's just because I'm just different. I always hear that, like, if I don't put myself out there, I just won't get hurt. Mm-hmm. But you will still get hurt. That doesn't preclude you from having feelings and feeling rejected or feeling shitty. You just didn't try.
But then you can blame it on yourself.
Sure, you can say I could if I wanted to, but it doesn't make you feel any better. Has anyone ever looked back and been like, man, I squandered that great relationship, but at least it's my own fault, and felt fucking better?
No.
It's like a self-sabotage intention. Like, look, I fully acknowledge that, like, it would feel really shitty to put yourself out there and get trampled on. That's gonna fucking suck, and it's gonna hurt, and you're gonna have to deal with some feels. I would take that over regret and self-sabotage, where I have to look in the mirror and be like, that's the person who ruined my life. That's way worse, because that's some long-term shit that you don't usually get over. And Greg is like a perfect representation of that. He just keeps fucking his own life up.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. How many times did Greg say that? That conversation with John.
What was he doing? The sizzling bacon and the, like,
He's just being an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, like, his dad was like, you're an idiot. Like, my God, you're an idiot.
Well, and it's interesting because, like, him and Rebecca are both weird. Like, they do weird stuff all the time.
But this was
that
like
was
them
like
over
extra.
the top.
Like, even Rebecca thought it was weird.
Did you fart? Yeah, I farted. No, I'm gonna get a candle. I won't get a candle. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a candle. It's like, what is happening right now? Like, it was like they just met. I mean, it was so...
It was bad.
It was too much. Yeah, and then, I mean, I don't know of a better representation of Greg's life, but him at the end of the night takes a nap, loses the girl, passes out, ends up having to be put in an Uber by his buddy who knew he was going to do this. Mm-hmm. And, like, especially when you think about, like, look at everyone else. Valencia broke up with Josh because she decided she's had enough of this. Totally reasonable point. Josh went to go get the girl. Rebecca went to go get the guy. White Josh and Daryl having a cute little fun moment.
They're adorable.
They're adorable.
They're matching tuxedos.
And they're
of course,
holding hands.
Daryl thought they should wear tuxedos to this wedding.
I mean, I don't know. They look kind of cool.
I think they do look great.
I think he was right. Like, he's a little extra, but, like, White Josh comes around, he's like, actually, yeah, we're fancy and we look good.
And then during the, like, super cheesy romantic song, they just, like, hold hands and look at each other.
Everyone else is happy but Greg. I mean, just...
Well, and Josh, apparently.
We'll get to that. We'll get to Josh. Yeah, this is the biggest loss for a non-Rebecca character of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Greg...
And this is a total L.
Greg is really good at standing in his own way.
Could if I wanted to.
He could if he wanted to.
But not only that, it was just like... He was acting in a way that never made sense to me. So, like, his plan didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then he started to realize it, but by the time he realized it, it was, like, too late. And he decided to go get bombed. Why? It's almost like at some level subconsciously. That's why I wonder if The Flash... I thought it was him realizing that, like, I do fuck things up. And you deserve better. I'm going to step out of the way. Because, like, he knows how he is, too. Everyone
Maybe
knows how
that
he
is how he feels. I don't know.
That also could have been like, you know how you get wisdom when you're drunk. That
Yeah.
goes away when you're sober.
It lets you connect with your feelings inside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right before
The ones that you bottled
The one that you bottled up. Right before they come rushing up. Everything comes rushing up when you drink enough alcohol. Feelings and liquid.
Yep.
Anything else about Greg?
No. Can we talk about Valencia and Josh?
Absolutely. Okay. I feel bad for Valencia because that sucks. Waiting 15 years for someone's a long time. I'm going to be real with you, though. At a certain point, you should kind of realize...
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're 28. And, like, look, I was in a long-term relationship when I was really young. So, like, when you're 18, dating someone for 7 years doesn't feel that weird. And they were at that point 15 years ago. But, like, you guys have never even had a conversation about this?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, and what's he spending so much time looking at rings for? He knows Valencia has rings on hold that she likes.
Well, no, she's never told him that.
Oh, that was just her mom?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, she's never told him that. I think his point, though, was very valid. Like, I get where we're going.
Oh, yeah.
You need to let me do it on my own time.
Yeah, I had a kind of a weird experience watching this because, like, at the end, I'm like, good for you, Valencia. Like, you did the right thing.
You were both right and wrong, strangely enough.
Well, the breaking up with Josh was the right thing to
absolutely.
do. I don't think that he was wrong to be upset that he explicitly asked her to let him do this in his own way, and then she still manipulated his aunt, and then did, like, that was bad. Like, it just...
But in her defense... Look, you cheated on me with Rebecca. I forgave you. I've been waiting 15 years. Yeah, I just don't believe you're going to get up. I don't think you're going to pull the trigger.
Well, I love when he was like, I looked at rings.
Did you buy one?
Did you buy one?
So, like, Josh's point is valid, but I think Valencia's point is valid.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like, okay, well, now you are both correct, but you're going in the wrong direction. Yeah. You're done. Like, there's no settling this. There's no compromise. You want to go X and he wants to go Y. You need to be done. And she does the right thing. Like, it's time to break up. They're done. And I wasn't sad about it. I was like, oh, yeah, it's long time coming.
It's good for both of them.
Also, his family hates you.
Yeah.
Like, what do we... Even the mom in this episode was like, I knew this had to do with Valencia.
Apparently Aunt Myrna likes her, though.
Yeah, that sounds right. They also hate Aunt Myrna. I'm sure the way that Valencia acts, where she's like the scene stealing all about me, Aunt Myrna also likes to talk about how she was on Star Search and has to sing in front of everyone. What does she say? Oh, she's the worst.
Yes,
yeah,
she does say
I
that.
think Valencia and Aunt Myrna have a lot in common.
Her gift to Josh and Valencia is her voice, which has been bestowed upon her by God.
A gift from God.
So it's like God is blessing her.
I will say, if you could sing like that, you're more than welcome to grant me that gift at my wedding, and I think that's fine. I think that's reasonable if you're a great singer to sing a song for me. I have no issues with that.
Roger discovered that she's the singer of A Whole New World from Aladdin.
I did. Like that, I would absolutely be fine with that. Right? Would you not want like Idina Menzel singing at your wedding?
No, of course. That'd be great.
That's a gift I'm happy to take.
I don't know if I would call it a gift from God, but yeah.
What would you call it? I mean, I know you're
a gift
religious.
from me to you.
Sure. But where did you get your voice from, I think is their point.
Training.
Well, I don't know enough about singing to know this, but like I could train as much as I want. I'm never going to be a great singer. Like there is some natural talent that had to have been given to you, correct?
To some degree.
Yeah.
I
mean, you have to hone it.
People that are tone deaf, that's actually like a infinitesimally small number of people. Sure. Almost anybody can be trained to sing reasonably well.
Sure, you can get them to a D or a C. Yeah,
but people like Ariana Grande, Julie Andrews, like
elite level singers,
like 4 octaves, like that is not. You can train yourself to push towards that, but you have to have like the lung capacity and that's just not happening.
So if you believe in that, God given is appropriate. Like I say, natural talent. Like there are some athletes that just have it. I can train you, but I can't get you to Tom Brady. Like that's just it. You ain't gonna be LeBron. Sorry, you didn't win that lottery. Josh is interesting in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Josh...
I don't think Josh is obsessed with Rebecca, though. You said it a few episodes back, and I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, so at some point where this is going to come to a head where he must be obsessed with her. I don't actually think he's obsessed with her. I do think, though, the thing that I've always pointed out finally came to be like he said it. She believes in him in a way that Valencia never has. And it's like, that's the point. Is that like Valencia doesn't listen to him. Valencia doesn't really believe in him. And she said, I didn't believe you were going to pull the trigger. She's not wrong for feeling that way. But it is how she feels.
Josh is obsessed with the way that Rebecca makes him feel.
Absolutely true.
Not
Absolutely.
in like the,
I
love you, but the attention and the like the...
I think it's the
special.
Belief. Yeah. It's the, you are somebody, I mean, now, that changes at the very end. But yeah, it is the idea that, like, you can do these things. You will do these things. You're that right guy. Valencia doesn't see him that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure she should see him.
I mean, I also think he's feeling rejected, and he knows that Rebecca is...
He's feeling rejected by who?
By Valencia. Even if it's sort of good for him and what he wants, like, I think...
I don't know if that really bothered him. I'm going to be honest. Based on the look that we get from him at the end of when she takes it back, he looked immediately like regretting that he went
true.
back. So I don't know that that's that.
I don't know. But he also is like cranky and upset after they break up.
Yeah, but he was cranky and upset before they broke. He's cranky and upset because of what she did. I think it was like I think he's mad about like the situation as opposed to like being mad that he's alone. I think it's more so that like, I told you, you never listen to me, you never do, it's like, you tried to manipulate my aunt and forcing me to propose to you. What the hell is wrong with you? And I think that's what he's pissed off about.
Well, in some ways, I do think that Rebecca wants a knight in shining armor. She wants a prince. Mm-hmm. And I think Josh's thing with Valencia is partially just comfort. Like, we've been together for so long, like, that we were just together.
Sure.
But also, like, you were my first love in high school. Like, he also idealizes Valencia in a certain way.
Could be.
You don't agree?
I think it's a more base level appreciation of Valencia.
That she's hot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the classic, what do you see in her? Oh, she's hot. Okay, but like, go deeper than that. Josh is kind of shallow. But like, as he because you could, it's kind of sexist, but like, there's a crazy hot scale. She is. It's just true. And that's true to some level, but that fades.
But Josh is also hot.
Yeah, but that doesn't change anything.
But he could just date another hot person.
It's not how people work. You just got to trust me on this.
Okay.
And like, it's fine at first, but over time it erodes, and he's starting to get tired. Like, her hotness can only guard and block so much, and over time, and then Rebecca kicks in and shows all the things that he doesn't get, and now it like progressively gets worse. And like, now he's just tired of it. Like, yeah, I get it that you're smoking hot, but like, I'm tired of being treated like an idiot.
Yeah. What does Ali Wong say? We should all be looking for a kind 6. She loves divorced men. All they want is a kind 6.
Should all be looking. I mean, I have the rule of 2, so.
What's the rule of 2?
Whatever number you are, you got to be honest with yourself. You can't date up or less than 2. So if you are a 6, don't try to date a 10. And you can't date a 2, because somebody's insecurity is going to be a problem here. But if you stay within that range, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on Valencia? Josh? Well,
I hope Valencia's story isn't over, but I could see her never appearing again.
It is not over.
Good.
Valencia is in the whole show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's going to be interesting now. Now that she is not essentially the other woman. I think that's going to make things very interesting. Also, I know this won't happen, but boy, I'd love to see a Greg and Valencia get together side plot. Amazing. Scrubs kind of does that, but I think Greg and Valencia together would be fucking funny. Just funny.
Okay.
Don't.
I'm sorry.
Don't. Damn it.
It's not that. It's
Okay,
not that.
fine.
It's something that you will like even more than that.
Huh. Okay. Valencia and Heather? Okay, so we settled Josh and Valencia. Do you want to pivot to Josh and Rebecca, or do you want to save that for the end?
Let's save that for the end. Let's
Great.
talk about Paula.
Let's talk about Paula. Yo! Paula! Positives? Girl, you got pipes. You can sing. You can sing your ass off. That's the end of my positives for Paula.
Yeah.
Until the very end. This was... Look, we've talked about this. We have a different philosophy when it comes to friendship. I want my friends to be brutally honest, even if it borderlines on mean, because I think that's how friends should be. You're more of the, keep it to yourself. Paula's criticism of Greg doesn't feel constructive. It just feels destructive. And It feels less like she's trying to help and more so pissed that she didn't follow her advice.
Yeah.
And I think there are different things, right? There's, I want you to do it my way and I want you to do it the right way. Don't necessarily, they're not the same thing. She throws Greg out of the room like a psycho.
Get out.
Get out.
I also love that she says, I was angry.
Yeah.
I've calmed down. And I was like, you've calmed down?
This is calm, Paula? I think her point would be valid about you didn't tell me, except for because you've been reacting like a crazy person. I wouldn't tell you anything either.
I was thinking back, because Paula brings up, remember when I got you invited to Josh's Thanksgiving, and we just bumped into Lourdes, and we saw the whole thing about like the car, but I didn't really realize that Rebecca didn't see that.
Yeah.
Like, Rebecca didn't know a lot of this stuff. And she should have asked, because there were some things that were, like, definitely, like, how did you know that, Paula?
She shouldn't have known that Mrs. Chen was shopping there. We said, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
But how did you figure that out? We saw the Josh thing where she slammed the thing into the car. But, like, it was kind of don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
Like, Rebecca wasn't concerned with how you did it. It's just, can we get Josh? She was also obsessed with Josh. And I think part of this is Rebecca realizing, like, my God, you, like, did all of this for me, but I didn't ask you to do this even though I, like, kind of wanted you to.
Yeah.
So now, like, you're, like, throwing it in my face, and it's like, yeah, but she did do this for her.
I love that this song is called After Everything I've Done for You, parentheses, that you didn't ask for. That dress, too. She looks so good in that red dress.
It's also weird because, like, you know, Paula dresses frumpy and boring. So, like, you see her in, like, this, like, jazz cocktail. Is that a cocktail dress? I don't know what the hell you call it.
Yeah, that's a cocktail dress.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa, Paula can dress up. So it's like, and then they kept flipping back and forth. You're like, oh, look at that. Paula's dimed out over there. Oh. And then just, like, this hilarious back and forth.
I do think that so this song is a play on Rose's Turn from Gypsy, which is it's like a very big musical, very big number. Paula does it very well.
This feels like a 1920s like jazz thing.
But it's like, it's my turn now.
Yeah. Well, it's because Paula's whole thing is that, like, what about me?
Yeah, what about me? What about my needs? What about what I want?
Yeah. I birthed you from my womb, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Paula is also fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, is Dr. Copian a play on the phrase cope?
Oh, I don't know. It's spelled with a K.
I know. I'm just like,
it could be
a play on that. It's like Dr. Copian needs two patients: Rebecca and Paula.
Yeah, and Greg also.
Does Greg seem like the kind of guy who's going to go to therapy?
Nope.
I hear you, but we're so far away from getting him to admit that he needs help.
Yep.
Yeah. He might need to go to AA before he goes to therapy. Also.
Now,
I will say the Paula-Daryl interaction is one of my favorite ones. When Daryl, expertly realizes that, like, there's a problem between the two of them, and Rebecca's sad. He then storms in and tells Paula, "We're best friends." What?
And then she's sort of like, "Yes, of course."
Oh, my boss thinks we're best friends. That's probably why I can get away with shit. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're best friends. I'm like, oh, Daryl really thinks they are best friends. I felt kind of bad for Daryl. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you ever know someone who, like, they think they're friends with the group, but, like, the group doesn't like them. That's how I feel like Daryl is.
There's a song about this later. It's called "You're My Best Friend, and I Know I'm Not Yours," and that's okay.
How does that work? I've just been assuming my best friends are my best friends. Ooh.
Huh. Maybe you should ask.
Nah, it's fine.
Maybe you should talk to Dr. Copian about it.
Yeah, book me a session. I mean, I know one for sure. Two for sure. You know what? I'm fine. We're good.
It doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me at all. I could talk to them if I wanted to.
Yeah, right. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was sweet how she, like, shows up, and then they have the, like, magical kind of, like, usually it's like the love story, and they, like, run together, and then they have the little Gilmore Girls moment of just word vomit where they just talk over each other. And I was like, oh, this is like this sweet, like, reunion between, like, the two long lost lovers, but it's actually just Paula and Rebecca. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was funny, and they made up.
Yeah.
It was also sad when Rebecca tried to use. She was like, "I used the tracking device on Lourdes' car. See, it can be fun. Greg stuff can be fun too." And Paula just stares at her.
What's crazy is that, like, but why isn't Paula into that?
Because she's mad. I think she is into it. I think she would be into it if she wasn't mad.
She's just mad. But she wasn't even into the, like, cake baking either.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, she is just throwing a tantrum because it's not exactly what she wanted. It's like, who cares who the other guy is? Just have fun. Like, your life is miserable. Yeah. But then, like, Paula and Rebecca get back to where they were. And then now Paula's pro Greg?
I think Paula is hopefully finally pro Rebecca being happy.
Hopefully.
But I don't know.
I'm optimistic that you're right.
You're optimistic.
Optimistic.
Oh, I like that.
It's an old Spin City joke.
Okay.
I can't remember who, I think it's Paul, the old, he's the press secretary.
Yeah.
And he keeps using, like, optimistic.
Richard Kind?
Richard Kind. Mm-hmm. He keeps saying that, and then they give him a thesaurus. They're like, hey, try out these words. So he spends the rest of the episode just, like, trying out. He's like, oh, my God, there are so many words in here that I didn't even know meant the same thing. So he just spends the rest of the episode just using words.
That's amazing.
It's a Chelsea. You would love that episode.
I mean, I've seen the show, but
that,
a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. Okay.
And I also have never streamed it, so I'm sure I missed some episodes because that's how TV used to be. I remember one time I've watched Frasier many times now. As a kid, many times.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't know, like, maybe 8 years ago, I was, like, streaming it for the first time, and I was like, I've never seen this episode of Frasier before. How did this happen?
We've been going back and watching it. And, like, some episodes, obviously you remember the one where, like, the radio guy, and he thinks Frasier's gay. We've all seen that episode. Yeah. We love that episode. Then there are some episodes where I was like, I have no memory of any of this ever happening. I think I just missed it. And then, unless you sit down and watch it, you just keep going. So it's not like you have to go back and watch it. So, like, oh, I never saw that. Didn't know that at all. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anything on Paula you want to talk about?
Nope.
Okay. We have Greg and Rebecca left for sure. Rebecca left, essentially. Anyone else that we need to touch on? Heather has a good pop-up real quick.
Yeah, I love that Rebecca texted Heather, you up. And Heather's like, you know that means that you want to have sex, right?
Did you know that?
Yes.
I don't know. I was just curious.
Oh, do you think that women are just like, I am up?
I don't know. Have you sent a you up text before?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Although it's funny, my mom texts me, are you awake all the time? And I'm like... She just wants to call me, and she was making sure that I'm awake. But I'm also like, you could just call, and I wouldn't answer if I was asleep.
This is like when people are like, are you asleep? Well, I was.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's funny that you up is a euphemism for you want to fuck. Because I'm always like, I mean, I guess, but like, why don't you just say, hey, want to have sex? Yeah. Why do we have to say you up?
I don't know.
But yeah, I love that. I love that Rebecca of all people didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. And that I can't believe that Rebecca. I mean, I can't because it's Rebecca, but that she texted Heather to ask for advice about Greg.
But that actually makes sense.
Heather was chill about it.
Yeah, and she knows Greg, and she knows Rebecca, and without Paula, I think you get better advice, honestly, from Heather.
I mean, Heather provided excellent advice. That apparently she learned from Glamour magazine.
That was amazing.
She took.
Oh, you learned that in school? Oh no, that was in this one's Glamour, but totally correct.
Yeah, and Rebecca ignores it. Greg's dad and Heather killing it with the advice this week.
Oh my God, you're an idiot.
I also love when Greg was like, he said something about his dad's like, are you guys having sex all the time? And Greg's like, why do I tell you that? It's like, Greg, I don't know why you told your dad that.
Because he doesn't talk to his friends. I mean, in fairness, I wouldn't talk to my friends if they were talking about my relationship all the time already anyway.
Yeah.
But he needs more friends.
All right, Josh and Rebecca?
I think this is just the Rebecca conversation that will include Josh.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know you find awkward Rebecca funny. I find her insufferable when she's being the super awkward. She was less insufferable than Greg in this one. But definitely them going at the Serranos was not pleasant to watch.
You, in fact, just stood up and I had to pause it.
I just walked away. I just wanted to walk away. That is how I felt about that scene. I've just had enough and I just got up. I'm just like, just keep going. It was like, I don't suffer secondhand embarrassment a ton. This is one of those instances like, this is just unpleasant to watch. And then I don't know. The fantasy thing to have this Storybrooke wedding. Yes, I used that pun intentionally. Is this a thing that all women have? I mean, no, not all women, but
you mean wanting the perfect moment?
Yeah, or this perfect picturesque
I don't know
princess
how to
wedding.
That.
I'm not. This question was not directed at you. I was thinking out loud, and you were like a sounding board, if that makes sense. Because I know you don't, but you're not exactly what I'd call your classic Midwest woman, for example. It's not you. We should start texting your friends. Hey, do you want a perfect princess wedding? Thanks. We are needing a poll for our show. But it was weird. She's also had this fantasy. She tried to make a little boy. play Sleeping Beauty with her.
I was trying to, like, suss out if he's a person that we know or will know in the future.
So, I don't know if you remember this, but there used to be this weird thing, and I remember when I was a kid, where little kids would play Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
So the girl would intentionally lay there asleep and want the guy to come up and kiss her.
Yeah. Kids are weird.
That's...
I mean, it's also, like, you show them a thing, and they want to act it out.
That's weird. We just grooming girls to be kissed in their sleep now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... I was like, I'm not playing that game. How do I defend that to my mother? Well, this girl was sleeping, and I went over top of her and kissed her. You did what?
She asked me to.
But she was asleep. Well, she wasn't asleep then, so she went to sleep after she asked you? We were just acting. Yeah, go in your room.
Good point. Good point.
Just all weird. The wedding was, rough for them. One, not only, so you were bothered by the fact that you wore Chucks. That didn't bother me. Jeans to a wedding?
Yeah.
What are you, a hillbilly? What are you doing, man?
Especially, like, in comparison to Daryl and White Josh and their tuxes.
Okay, also, yes, that's especially hilarious. But, like, I get bride and groom don't see each other before the wedding. Do people, when they are going to a wedding, not talk about what they're going to wear so they can coordinate?
Some people do that. Some people don't care about that.
Like, if I were taking my wife, we're going to talk about what we're wearing so that we make sure we together look good.
That doesn't surprise me that you are one of those people.
What's that supposed to mean?
You always want things to match. You make your hat and your shoes match.
Would you not be matching when you go to a wedding?
I mean, not in the same way, but yes.
You wouldn't match with your partner?
I don't know.
Huh.
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I wouldn't, like, think of it.
I like to match.
I also, like...
I mean, I'm sitting here wearing all blue and yellow.
It's challenging to find dresses. So I'd be like, this is the dress that I am wearing, and this is what I will be wearing.
Yeah. You, the woman, picks out what you're going to wear.
And then you choose what
And
you're
then
wearing.
I dress accordingly, because as a man, it's much easier for me to change my look than to make a woman try to go get ready again and take 2 more hours. You get what you need. I'll work with you.
It doesn't take me 2 hours to get ready. But...
For a wedding?
No.
Really?
No. I mean, it might take me 2 hours to find a dress that fits and is appropriate, but sure.
That's part of the getting ready.
Well, but that's like shopping.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It looked like Rebecca spent some time on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think it was not a...
It was a fancy wedding, too. Like, people were dressed up. Not just Daryl and
Not just Daryl and Josh. But yeah, so she looks fantastic. Mm-hmm. And he looks like a schlub.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
I feel like the jacket also didn't fit, and he was wearing, like a flannel or something. I don't know.
Bro, what are you doing, man? I could if I wanted to. You could dress nicely if you wanted to. Prove it, bro. Just show me that you can not look like a homeless guy coming off the street. Is that too much to ask here? At somebody's wedding? Like, they're like best friend's sister, and you're going to dress like that? Yeah. Come on, man. I get that he's going for the bad boy thing, but, like, that was just bad.
I feel like it's weird that Greg is invited to this wedding, actually.
Why? Josh and him are great friends.
But he's not friends with Josh's sister.
Yeah, people do that. And, like, he might be a family friend. He might have known him for a very long time.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Also, some people just want a big wedding, so they'll just be like, yeah, just pump up the numbers.
My brother's friend can bring a +1.
Yeah. Also, there's that thing where, like, you know, you sometimes want more people so that single people aren't the only, you know, like, it's not fun to be the single person at a wedding where everyone else is coupled up, for example.
I was once only one of 2 single people at a wedding. 3. A widowed grandmother and a child and me.
Case. And point.
Okay, yeah, Josh.
You mean Rebecca? Or Rebecca and Josh?
I don't have anything else on Rebecca.
Oh, so, like, you want to go to the Rebecca and Josh part?
Sure.
Yeah. The moment Josh texted her, I knew where this was going. And I was like, I told you so.
Oh, I knew this would happen as soon as Greg self-sabotaged.
Yeah. But I think it was like, once Josh became an option, Rebecca was going to run into his arms. Like, I honestly, I think the self-sabotage really didn't play as much of a part as maybe you think it is.
I don't agree with that, but okay.
I know, you want to believe that, like, Rebecca changed her mind and really cared about Greg and was over Josh and then magically became unover Josh. But I know people, and that's not how people work. Also,
I'm sorry. It's Chelsea's condescension corner that we're
Oh, I'm throwing this back on you now. This is the entire episode as I told you so.
Every time we record an episode about anything.
Same. Agreed. Especially this show where I specifically recall you saying, but I actually know what this show is about. Those are your exact words.
I do know what this show is about.
There it is. See? There it is. You can't help yourself, can you? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what else the ending could have been.
No, yeah, I mean...
It had to go to this. They had to go here. I think the interesting part of the twist was, why did she reveal that? That's an inside thought, man. What are you doing? Like, I don't know. If I had a crush on my wife for a year and didn't say anything, I'm going to wait till we're married for 15 years before I say that. I need to know that you're fully locked in and committed to me before I reveal something that crazy.
I mean, I think that it actually fits with the like idealized situation. Like, she wants him to know that, like, I made this grand romantic gesture to move here for you.
That's not romantic.
Now we're together. I'm not saying that I would think it's romantic, but I can see why Rebecca would think that it is.
But we already had, so, like, even if you maybe at one point thought that was true, we had an episode that talked specifically and directly about this, and Josh was like, that's crazy sounding.
But then he was really nice to her afterwards.
Because she lied and said why she actually moved here is about how much she loves West Covina and all the friends. She didn't come out and say, yeah, I was in love with you, and I saw you.
You think she remembers it that way?
Yeah.
You don't think that she just remembers that Josh was nice to her?
I think she remembers she didn't reveal that she said all that to him. Because otherwise she wouldn't have said it just now, because she would have already revealed that in the past.
I guess that's true.
I don't know how she could remember, so, like, I poured my heart out to you before. Like, obviously she knows she lied there, because...
Well, I'm not saying that she didn't know that she lies. I think that she just thinks that Josh always has a nice reaction when she says stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Though the last time they had a conversation about that was the photos, and he didn't seem to have a very nice reaction about that.
Except that then he kept coming back to her house and wanting to talk to her.
Well, she threw him out, I thought.
Yeah, but he, like, kept coming back throughout that episode. Yeah. She tells Josh a thing, and then he keeps coming back.
I don't know. There's a, like, does Rebecca not see what she did was insane?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think she thinks it's romantic.
Wow. That's wild. Because, like, she definitely realizes all the things Paula did were insane.
Yep.
Like, she has that reaction when she kind of, like, grabs the cover, you know? She's like, oh, fuck. So she, in her mind, thinks that, like, what she did is, like, this, like, we were just meant to be together fairy tale. And she said something like, you're going to be the solution to all my problems?
I didn't catch that, but that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, she says something at least alluding to that. Like,
I believe you.
Yeah. It was like, I was unhappy before, and I knew that if I was with you, it would solve everything. And he's just like, that's where he starts to be like, oh, fuck.
But he's even playing into this, like, ultra romanticized thing. He stole the fucking Just Married car. That's the car that they drove to the beautiful Hollywood cliffs in. And then they're sitting on the hood of the car. And yeah. Then, do you think they had sex? Or did they just make out?
I never saw him take his pants off.
Just his shirt.
I never knew that was a thing!
Yeah.
Apparently that's a thing. I do not think they had sex there, though they could have had sex, I guess, in the car afterwards, because you can't see their lower halves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think they had
sex. You
sex.
also don't have to take off your pants to have sex.
Okay, well, unless something has changed about anatomy, you got to do something.
You have to unbutton your pants.
And she's got to, like, lift up her dress, and there's going to be a lot more work than just... Yeah.
It's a CW.
Yeah. I'm not saying they couldn't have had sex. I'm just saying I don't know for sure they did.
Yeah, and then our love story can finally begin, and the look of horror on Josh's face.
Also, yeah. His ability to shoot a, oh God, what have I gotten into face is top tier. Like, he looks terrified.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I just wouldn't say that.
No.
You just gotta keep that to yourself, man. Or again, like I said, when you guys are married and you got 2 kids and been together 15 years, that's a funny little anecdote where it's just like, oh, you're psycho, but I've been with you 15 years. I love you. Like, you got to put some work in. You can't just throw that out there on the first makeout session.
Yeah.
Also, you and your cynical ways. It looks uncomfortable to be making out on top of a car. You never made out on top of a car?
I've made out in the bed of a truck.
That's very similar.
Well, there was a mattress in there.
Yeah, I mean, other than the slanting, though, it's very similar.
We were laying on a mattress.
In the back of a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
With pillows.
That's like 80% of the
blankets.
same thing, I'd say. Okay, maybe not as much. You basically just put a bed in the back of a truck.
We 100% did that.
You never made in, like, the backseat of a car?
Yeah, but, like, sitting. It did have a very long hood. Like, the front of my car is, like, non-existent.
You don't have a front of a car. That's not a thing.
You can barely lean on it.
Yeah. The front of your car is your windshield.
I, like, literally can't set, like, a box on the front of my car. There's nowhere to put a thing.
You don't rear end people. You hit them with your windshield.
Yeah.
I think, it's funny, I think making on the beach is actually way more uncomfortable.
Sand.
That's just everywhere, and you have no, like...
Are you secretly Darth Vader?
Oh, I hate sand. I have been told I'm kind of like the evil empire. Yeah. No, that, but I did love your, like, that just looks uncomfortable. I was like, they don't look uncomfortable.
Yeah, they look like they were having a good time.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we move to favorite moment?
One question. How are people in their late 20s this bad at communicating? I don't know.
Their parents fucked them up and they
everyone's parents?
Yet.
Because it feels like all of them are terrible at this.
I don't know.
It's impressive. Let's do one line.
Okay. I don't have any because...
They're all your favorite moments or ridiculous moments or stuff like that?
Yep.
Okay. My top line. The very closing shot. Rebecca, I moved here for you. Josh, what? If I needed to kind of embody what is this show about, that right there.
What?
I moved here across the country, gave up my job, uprooted my life, and moved over here while you had a girlfriend for you so I could be with you. You could solve all my problems. What?
Yep, that's a good one. I like it.
It's how I feel about this show sometimes. I have 2 favorite moments.
I also have 2. I feel like both of these are silly. I had a hard time with this.
One of mine is just a taunting, throw it in the face, so you probably know what it is. But the other one is hilarious.
I want a whole nut. I want a donut that has a donut hole shoved in the hole of the donut. I want a whole nut.
That's the most filthy I've ever heard someone talk about a donut. It's funny. That's pretty funny. The bird leaving when she starts to sing. Oh no, bitch, I remembered I can fly. Fuck you, I'm out of here. Hilarious, because Rebecca Bunch is tone deaf, despite the fact that Rachel Bloom actually can sing.
Yeah.
And I just love the bird, because I was like, oh, this is her, like, Snow White moment. And the bird's like, not today!
Out of here.
Fuck out of here.
I loved when they walked into the wedding, and Greg is talking about, like, oh, they have the Italian food and the blah 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 decor, whatever, and he's like, what is this Pinterest board called? Ironic juxtaposition. And then Daryl walks in and says exactly the same thing.
But loves it.
Loves it. He loves it.
That's actually my third favorite moment. Daryl loves everything that Greg hates about this wedding. Because it is perfect that, like, Greg is this, like, eternal, sardonic, just caustic pessimist.
Yeah.
And Daryl is, like, the inverse of that. He's just, like, hopeful and happy, and he's enjoying all of the ridiculous nonsense of it. I was like, well, this is why Daryl is happy, and this is why Greg is miserable.
Daryl is the Messiah riding a unicorn over a rainbow. And Greg is the one who makes fun of it. Who knew that this balloon would be a metaphor?
That was a deep cut. But my actual favorite moment of this was being able to say I told you so throughout this entire episode. People can change their mind. People change their lives. Not me. But some people do that. I'm sure some people do change their minds. I just don't think Rebecca Bunch is that person. I told you so.
Favorite song?
One Describable Instant.
Really?
It was just a better song. Paula's was funny. But I think one indescribable innocence was, and it also fit the conclusion of the show.
I was just talking to a friend the other day about how I cannot predict the songs that you will like in the show. I don't get it.
Really?
I thought you would have hated that song. I would have thought you would have thought. I mean, it's
stupid. It's a classic Disney. It's like a whole new world. I mean,
and sometimes I thought that you were going to love. Oh my god, I think I like you because the sex jokes and the positioning are so funny.
It is. The tune and the...
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Tune is important to you.
I mean, if you're talking about a song, yeah. Yeah, I'll be honest.
After Everything I've Done For You is mine.
I knew that.
Favorite line is, I blackmailed Valencia's boss, so now I control when she teaches.
I make yoga schedules now!
There's no limit to where my reach is.
I have 2 ridiculous moments.
I'm sure I will agree with what yours are, but I only have one. Go ahead.
I moved here for you.
What?
What? Rebecca! What are you doing, girl? What's your one?
This is partially personal, and I will not use names on purpose, but Josh's makeout move is to take off his shirt, and I have a friend whose makeout move is to take off his shirt, and I don't know anybody else that does that.
I keep meaning to try this with my wife, but I'm afraid of what the reaction might be. What are you doing? I don't know. I saw this in a TV show. I just want to know if people like this. No, what are you doing?
Well, you can't do it because we've made fun of the real life situation to your wife before.
Oh, have we? Does she know about that?
Definitely.
That's such a weird...
But she doesn't remember anything.
No! She has no idea. She would remember it a day later and be like, wait a second. I actually really thought the stick, balloon, and flowers analogy was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that was really good.
Because, he's describing those 2 things, but you very quickly realize, oh, this is Josh and Greg.
It's just you and Josh,
yeah. 100%. Mm-hmm.
I have 3 losers, but 1 big loser and 1 winner.
I have 2 losers, and I'm going to save my winners for later. That's going to be the surprise.
The surprise. Later, at the end of the episode?
Correct.
Okay, it was tomorrow?
For our recap, you have 3 losers, so go first.
Josh. I do think ultimately him and Valencia breaking up is a good thing, but I don't know if him having to this happening at a wedding and then him being really upset and then just immediately running after Rebecca is a good thing for Josh. Don't think this is good.
Really? Now you're in that camp, huh?
I have never been pro Josh. You can ask Darcy.
I meant you shouldn't just run into somebody else's arms immediately.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because, you argued with me about how, that wasn't ridiculous to do, and I was like, it kind of is, so now you're seeing what I was saying, I guess?
Flip-flopping, I guess.
Yeah. You should run for office.
Rebecca. I think Greg was a dick, and that sucked.
I don't know if I would call him a dick. I would say...
He sabotaged the situation. And she wanted him to say something that he didn't say. It hurt.
He wasn't intending to hurt her the way I would say someone being a dick is.
Sure.
He was self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
It's almost he's just being Greg, unfortunately. Yeah. This is just who he is.
But she said, I care about you, and he said, I think you're cool. Oh, we're handshaking?
Yeah.
It is that. It is the handshake when someone tries to kiss you.
I've never experienced that. But God, that's gotta suck.
Yeah. And I think, I do not think that Josh and Rebecca are gonna be good together, but I definitely don't think it's good that she thinks that Josh is going to solve all of her problems.
Listen, if there's one thing I've learned about women, is that you can solve all of your problems by just getting with a man you obsess with.
Yeah.
That's how life works.
But my biggest loser is Greg.
Yeah!
Because Greg actually had what he wanted. She said, I care about you. And then he just blew up his life.
Yeah.
And he's throwing up in a garbage can at the end. I mean, that is just throwing up in a garbage can and then saying, I should have said I love you. And now she's making out with Josh.
It kind of reminds me how Greg realizes too late he should have said I love you. It's like the scene, or maybe this is what this scene was talking about, where he goes to run to the courthouse and he's just a little bit too late. Mm-hmm. That's like Greg in a nutshell. He realizes that he fucked up with Heather a little bit too late. He realizes he fucked up with Rebecca a little bit too late. He realizes he should have been trying to go to night school, but just like it's like he's always just late to the because that's just who he is. Yeah, he's the ultimate loser of this by far. I also have Valencia. I think she made the right move. 100%. It was time to move on. But it's still devastating to know that you thought you were going here, and it turns out instead of being ready to propose to you, he's really never going to get where you want him to be, and you had to make a very tough decision that it's time to move on. Yeah, you were right, but this is going to suck. You lost in this episode. Long term, I think she's going to win, but as far as this episode, she's probably feeling really shitty right now. And to do it, at a wedding, too. This is what you were dreaming of.
You wanted to be part of the family, not just be,
And you were never going to be that. You have one winner.
It's Valencia.
Go.
I mean, I don't disagree. She's probably feeling like shit, but I think they've been going back and forth about this for a long time, and she finally made a choice, and she was firm about it.
Oh, yeah.
She wasn't just we just got in a fight. She was like, we are done forever.
I will say to counter that, I don't disagree with anything that you said. Her actions weren't always the best in this episode.
I also agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think that
I don't think she feels good right now.
She doesn't.
I think it's hard to say that you got to win.
I didn't know who else to choose.
I'm glad you said that. Because my winner is no one.
Okay.
Honestly, everyone either feels shitty or has put themselves in a very shitty spot.
Or is shitty.
Who is shitty?
I don't know. Greg, Rebecca, Josh.
Greg feels shitty. Josh, I almost had Josh as a winner. And then the final scene happened. I was like, ooh, that sucks. I had Rebecca as a winner. That final scene happened. I was like, not so good.
You know who winners are? Aunt Myrna. She did kill it with that song.
Aunt Myrna killed it. I almost put Daryl and White Josh.
Yeah, Daryl and White Josh are in love, and it's adorable.
But to counter that, I think it's if you've ever had a friend who just doesn't know how to move on, it does suck to see to be White Josh and to know that Greg is just a self-sabotaging, not a monster, but just this is just who he is. That sucks because you don't want your friend to be that way. So even he's feeling kind of shitty. Daryl did jump into hell. Daryl could get a win here, and I'd be fine with that because he does kind of fix the Paula. But we
know that Paula is not his best friend. We know it.
It just feels like everyone feels worse right now. Rebecca maybe would have been the closest, except for Josh is oh fuck, you're crazy. I don't think anyone won. I think this is a total loss for every single person in the show. Mm-hmm. Maybe Mrs. Chan is the ultimate winner.
Jayma got married.
And Valencia's gone.
Yeah.
That might be the win. But I think I think this was a... You know who's the winner? Me. I won! Because I got to say I told you so. So tell them what we're doing next.
Oh, I didn't write down we'll be watching... We're going to do a recap.
I was like, we're watching something, huh?
We're going to do a recap of season 1. And then the time after that, we will watch the first episode of season 2.
So for those who aren't familiar with how we do it on Twice Upon a Time, you want to give a little quick synopsis of how our recaps go?
Yeah. So we'll do a synopsis of the season.
It's going to be excellent. It's one of my favorite parts of the season. Listening to you try to summarize an entire season into about... We say a 45-second read.
Yeah. I think I'll be able to do it faster with this one. Because there's not, flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah. But still, it's just fun to, okay, this is the things that Chelsea finds really important. Summarize the season in 45 seconds and go.
And then we will go through a series of categories, which we actually haven't decided on yet. So we'll need to do that. And just talk about the season as a whole. And then we'll talk about what we're excited about for the next season. And then we will watch that season after the episode after that.
We'll talk about winners. We'll talk about our counts.
Yeah.
We'll talk about losers. We'll talk about those counts. I will do some missed opportunities. Are you going to do costumes?
I'm not sure. We need to talk. We got to talk.
I don't know that this is a show where that works as well.
I think I wrote top costume for the first time in this episode, so probably not.
Probably not. I will definitely probably do questions. What are we looking? Because we didn't have a what are we looking forward to going in, but coming out of the season, I think we'll probably have What are we looking forward to in season 2?
I like how I keep trying to hint that we should have this conversation after we finish recording, and you just keep saying
Just keep going. This is my hint that I want to do this, and I want to put it on the record.
But I can't write it down because my click-clacking is too loud.
You gotta type softer, Chelsea.
I try really hard.
Well, try soft. Not try really hard, try really soft. I am sad. Not that I want kids, but I feel like I've missed out on so many dad jokes because I just love really awful, embarrassing dad jokes, and I would do it all the time. All the time.
You can.
It's not the same, though. You got to get that embarrassment from your kid where they just roll their eyes as deep into the recesses of their brain, and they're just like, you are so not funny. And then me and Jen would think we're the funniest people on the planet, and we'd be laughing, and everyone else would be like, they are killing themselves laughing. And I'd embarrass my kid all the time. He'd hate me. It would be a boy, by the way. He hate me. I don't know why I said he.
All right. Anything else you got? He's thinking. I'm going to say that's a no. All right. Please be sure to join us next time when we recap season 1 of Crazy Ex-Girlfriends.
We will see you next time for the recap.